station. The Monday night sensation. We'll rock around. That's right. It's Blunt and Jason. First Nation, Force Nation. That's Jason and Joe. Basketball and no more stalling. Monday night is the show. TBS, that's the best. That's what you see. Get back to J, the NBA. All both.
Welcome to the final hectic days of the regular season. Teams maneuvering for position. Tonight we're in Philadelphia, and this is the first season in a long time Sixer fans have been coming to see their team rather than the opponents and their stars. This is TBS NBA Monday. Indiana has already secured the #1 seed in the Eastern Conference. Philadelphia needs wins tonight and tomorrow in Chicago to capture the home court in the first round. And good evening, everyone. Kevin Harlan alongside John Thompson and Danny Ainge. Todd Harris roving the arena here in cold and chilly Philadelphia tonight. Well, the Pacers and 76ers are good teams in a conference that has no great team. In fact, Philadelphia has had to battle a litany of injuries all season long just to stay good. Case in point, their wonderful Allen Iverson. Tonight, he will play with a bad rotator cuff, a sore shooting elbow, and a broken left toe. Aside from that, he's doing great. And John, you know about Allen. What about the 76er team as they approach the playoffs?
Well, I couldn't see Allen for the bandages when we went to practice today. But one of the things that I've been extremely impressed with that Larry Brown has done is the supporting cast that he's put around Allen. So much talk is said about how Allen Iverson and what he means to this team. But Larry has put around him a lot of guys, Kevin, that have been extremely supportive of him and how he plays the game. And I think that that's a smart thing for a coach to do.
And that's the reason, all banged up, Iverson is playing tonight. Philadelphia has got to win. Now let's swing it over now to Danny in Indiana. They will not play Mark Jackson tonight. They will not play Reggie Miller tonight. What about the Pacers?
Well, Larry Bird wants two things going into the playoffs. He wants home court advantage, which they've already secured, and he wants healthy bodies. I think it's very wise to rest Mark Jackson and Reggie Miller. But make no mistake about it, Indiana wants to win this game tonight. Jalen Rose gets to play his favorite position, the point guard. Chris Mullin gets his first start at the shooting guard on the year. And Austin Crozier is going to be at the small forward, the first time he's been there. So these guys want to play. They should be loose. It should be a great game.
Now, this is one of a lot of good games tonight on the NBA schedule. In fact, battling for that 8th and final Eastern Conference playoff slot right now, Orlando and Milwaukee. And throughout the night, live reports from the arena with Craig Sager. Before we go there, we go to Atlanta and check in with Ernie Johnson, Kenny the Jet, and Hubie Brown. Then back to TBS NBA Monday from Philadelphia.
Right, 3 nights to go in the regular season. We're with you for all 3. Ernie Johnson in our Atlanta studio. Kenny Smith is going to be here at halftime, and so will Hubie Brown, because tonight we honor regular season brilliance with the Hubies. 4 games on the slate tonight, a biggie in Orlando between the Bucks and the Magic, with the final playoff spot in the Eastern Conference riding on it. Early action in Orlando tonight. Look at that score. At that point, 22-5, and the Milwaukee Bucks absolutely pouring it on. Rafer Alston goes to the line, or goes through the lane, and makes the bucket 24-9 at that point. And that is our highlight of that game. And you can see Craig Sager down there in what has to be a very quiet arena. What's up with the Magic in a huge game, Craig?
Well, I'd like to say they came out flat, but it's like they didn't even come out at all, to be honest with you. They were out-rebounded that first quarter 17-5 at one point, and they also turned the ball over 8 times against Milwaukee. They fell way behind. Doc Rivers called 2 timeouts, benched the entire starting 5. Right now, they're shooting just 3 out of 16 for like about 18%. The big crowd, close to sellout, if it was not a complete sellout, was very quiet when they fell behind. of course, George Karl said that was one of the keys, to match their intensity and also to match them point for point in the first 5 minutes, get the crowd out of it, and they have done more than that.
I was going to say mission accomplished. Thanks, Fred. We'll check with you as the night goes on. If the Bucks win that game, they are in the playoffs. If Orlando wins that game, then they are still in the hunt for it. They have some unfinished business, even if they do win tonight. Coming up next year on TBS NBA Monday, it's the Pacers and the Sixers. Allen Iverson all banged up, but telling team president Pat Croce, you know what? I'm going tonight, trying to get home court in the first round. It's TBS NBA Monday next.
Never let you down. Make it a Bud Light. By Volkswagen. On the road of life, there are passengers and there are drivers. Drivers wanted. By Napa Auto Parts. We keep America running. And by Daytech Online. The rules of online trading are changing.
Welcome back to TBS NBA Monday tonight from rainy Philadelphia. The Indiana Pacers, the top team in the Eastern Conference tonight, starting Jalen Rose at the point, Chris Mullin at the 2, Austin Crozier, Rick Smits, and Dale Davis comprise their front line. For the Philadelphia 76ers, Snow, Allen Iverson, George Lynch, Ratliff, and Tyrone Hill. And let's send it over to the Salt Lake City Flash. Todd Harris. Welcome, Todd.
Thank you, Kevin. Well, to say the skies were less than friendly to the Indiana Pacers would be a huge understatement. Check out this flight itinerary. After their win last night in Detroit, they board an 11:30 plane. They get halfway to Philadelphia. They have to go back from mechanical problems. An hour on the ground and a new plane later, they finally get to Philadelphia at 4 o'clock this morning. Fatigue may be a factor. Kevin?
All right, Todd, thank you. And Danny, you've been a part of travel problems like that in the past. As you take a look at Jackson on the bench, and there's Reggie Miller. They will not play. Miller with a back problem and a right contusion on the right thigh of Mark Jackson. But sometimes, you know, situations like this can bring out the best in a team.
It really can. Those guys are right there talking about, oh, I get all your shots in there, Mark. The team is going to be very loose. These guys are happy that they get a chance to play a different position, and that loose, relaxed atmosphere can make that basket a little bit bigger.
John, you were talking to Allen Iverson before the game. How is he feeling about things, both for his team and physically, as you take a look at our officials?
Well, physically, I think he's very sore. One of the things he said about Indiana, though, is the fact that they have more size in the backcourt and also more speed when they come with Best. So he said it's not necessarily just good, the fact that these guys are out.
Rick Smits heard from early, and here comes Eric Snow from Canton, Ohio, working on Chris Mullin. Mullin making his second start of the season tonight, and a pass goes astray as they try to go for Lynch down low.
Well, you know, I don't think Mark Jackson is hurting so bad. If this was a crucial game, he probably would be playing, but I think Larry Bird's more concerned that Mark Jackson could sprain an ankle trying to guard Allen Iverson.
Wouldn't anybody? Mark Jackson, who played well a week ago tonight against the New York Knicks, and here comes some full court pressure by Philly.
Well, and I think they have to do that, particularly with the size of Indiana. You can expect a lot of posting up of both Snow and Allen Iverson. So Philly's trying to extend the defense and put a lot more pressure on them down court.
Austin Crozier, who played at Providence, with a nice reverse.
Great play. You know, Austin, that's a tough play because they're trying to front in the low post, and Rick Smits rooted Theo Ratliff out, so there was no help along the baseline for George Lynch.
Crozier vital to the Indiana Pacers, Larry Bird said. Here's George Lynch, who played at North Carolina, over Crozier. Rebound by Dale Davis. Rose ahead, looking for Crozier, broken up by Lynch. Lynch is a nice defensive player for Larry Brown. And Larry loves players that play defense.
Well, Crozier is so good offensively. He can shoot the outside shot, and he can put the ball on the floor either way. Loves playing the power forward position because he's got such an advantage, but there he goes by the good defending George Lynch.
Well, and he's a tremendous addition to this team. I think Larry Bird has done a great job with Jalen Rose and Crozier's confidence in getting both of them ready to play and feel comfortable about their ability to play.
Iverson driving down the lane with the foul assessed on Smits. Just knocked out of bounds. 14 seconds to shoot as you take a look at Larry Bird. Iverson through traffic for two.
Well, that's one of the things you have to admire about Allen. With all the injuries that he has, he still insists upon penetrating through those big people, and you know he's got to feel it every time he goes to the basket.
They're looking for Smits down low. Working on Theo Ratliff, the ex-Detroit Piston. Rebound by Hill. Outlet caught by Snow. Here comes Philadelphia. Snow to Hill.
No transition defense there by Indiana Pacers. Smith and Davis were late getting back on defense.
Jalen Rose, who played at Michigan, driving down the lane, whacked as he was taking it, curling in. Eric Snow was in there, and Snow picks up his first foul.
Right here, Snow does a good job of pushing the ball in transition. Theo clears out the two big guys, and then the trailer, Tyrone Hill, gets there in easy basket just for hustling.
Well, in particular with this lineup in the game, I think the 76ers have to get it down and try to get some uncontested layups because of the size of the 76ers and Allen and Snow.
Jalen Rose, who grew up in Detroit, won 3 city high school basketball championships, part of the Fab Five that went to the University of Michigan, starting at point guard, which Larry Brown, when he coached Indiana, would never let him play.
Well, again, I think that's one of the things that Larry Bird has done extremely well, is he's believed in this kid and given the kid a lot more confidence.
Mullin reaching in as Hill was taking it across the lane, and a foul called on Mullin. That is number 1. And Chris Mullin tonight taking the place of Reggie Miller. The pressure is off Indiana, but is firmly on the shoulders of the Philadelphia 76ers, needing to win tonight and tomorrow to secure home court for the first round of the playoffs. We talked to Larry Brown today. He seems confident, though, John, about his ball club.
Well, he was very confident. You know, I was really impressed with the fact that as much as Larry may moan about some things, that he was extremely confident in this group of guys. And he also felt the fact that they play good defense and play together very well.
He looks loose talking to Mo Cheeks on the bench.
No question about it. You know, the pressure's so much off Indiana right now because that home court advantage is so critical. Not so much in games 1 through 6, Coach, but in that 7th game, knowing that you have your home crowd, that's a big advantage. And both these coaches know, and that's why they both want to, that's why Larry feels pressure to win tonight.
Dale Davis hits the shot there. 3 of 5 shooting so far for Indiana. 76ers 2 of 4. Theo Ratliff, who came in a trade with Jerry Stackhouse. Stackhouse to Detroit. Ratliff here. And here comes Jalen Rose off to Rick Smits. And that is a shot that he's very familiar with.
Yeah, Rick can hit that shot on the trailer. 7'4". He scores inside, scores outside, and you can tell he's playing very loose right now.
Allen Iverson, an all-star starter for the East in Oakland a couple months ago. Crozier to Chris Mullin.
Well, I think Crozier is one of the key guys in this and benefiting from this game, because if he gets to really playing well, it certainly will help Indiana an awful lot in the playoffs.
Dale Davis hits again, and Davis has hit his second.
Dale Davis has really improved that part of his game. If he could really take that game, that post-up game, that medium-range jump shot into the playoffs like he's done throughout the regular season, that'll be a big boost.
George Lynch driving on Crozier. Inside the ex-Los Angeles Laker, George Lynch with 2.
Well, that's one of the things Indiana's will have to really improve upon. They've got to play good perimeter defense because they really don't have a dominating shot blocker inside.
Chris Mullin saves it. A wild pass retrieved by Rose. 6 to shoot. Smith's uncovered. Now Ratliff comes and alters the shot. Rebound by Chris Mullin, who puts it up and in.
He's such a smart player. He saw the shot going up. He rooted Allen Iverson, used his size and advantage to get that offensive rebound.
And you know what, Danny? I think the closer they get to the playoffs, the smarter Chris will get too.
Veteran teams always thrive.
Always.
The ball moves so much better when he's on the court. He passes, he hits the open shot, he spaces the defense. He's such a smart player.
Jalen Rose into Crozier, who played at Providence College. Knocks it down.
I love this kid because he's so aggressive out there. He doesn't play tentative. He comes out, he looks for his shots, but yet he doesn't force the play.
In a crucial game for the Philadelphia 76ers, Larry Brown has seen Indiana go on a 10-2 run. And the best team in the East, Indiana, leads Philadelphia by 7. It connects out the Hornets if they win tonight. and, of course, win tomorrow in Chicago.
Yeah, they have to win both of the games because Charlotte has that tiebreaker.
You know, and the thing to do is to try to play as well as you can play. Sometimes if you come out on the floor and you try to figure out all the scenarios, you end up finding yourself in trouble. You just play well, win the ball game, and let the statistics take care of themselves.
Neither team has made a change. Indiana is 7 of 10 from the field. Crozier 2 of 2. Indiana +4 in rebounding. And Eric Snow, truly one of the most underrated guards in the NBA, packs one in.
Well, without a doubt, you know, he's an unsung hero out there. He plays defense extremely hard, and he gives the basketball up and keeps things going for this team.
Lynch is on Crozier. Shot clock down to 10. Under 7 to play in the first quarter. Smith again as Crozier threw everybody down low to him.
Crozier's demanding a lot of attention right there. He had a double team with Theo Ratliff and George Lynch, two pretty darn good defenders down there, created an easy shot for Smith.
Well, and in practice, Larry Brown was talking about how he wanted to attack the dribble when Smith's post up, but every shot he's taken now has been from the perimeter.
Ratliff with the miss. Philadelphia has started 4 of 10. Rose to Crozier. Across the lane, triple team with a nice fake to free himself. What a play.
I told you guys before the game, that guy's getting a start, man. He wants to start his job. Plus, he's a free agent this year. You kidding me? This is a big game for Oscar Crozier, Jalen Rose, and Chris Mullin.
Well, I think he's taken Danny already. Jackson's share the shots already.
Iverson trying to take it inside. Smits was lunging in. And the foul called on Rick Smits is Iverson with just 2 points so far. That's the first on Rick, and we'll see Allen Iverson at the free throw line. You can't see his injured as you take a look at Larry Bird, but that white wrap there on that shooting elbow, if you took that off, you would see an elbow the size of a grapefruit. I mean, it is really swollen, John.
Well, it is very big, and as he was showing you and I before, you know, the game started, he can't get full extension on the elbow, on his shooting arm.
It's 2 right there. And the 76ers, who have won 4 consecutive games and 8 in a row at home, are trailing Indiana by 7. Rose to Mullin. Chris Mullin right between the eyes.
Well, Iverson was there to contest it, but Mullin is so much bigger and doesn't even fear that Iverson's going to contest his shot.
Rose has 4 assists already.
Well, he has 4 assists, but he doesn't seem to be attempting any shots. When you put him in the point guard position, his role totally changes because he's been an offensive force with them in the last few games, but now he's not taking shots.
George Lynch knocks that down. Lynch is coming off a 17-point, 15-rebound game against Detroit. Jalen Rose with the miss.
He must have heard me say he wasn't making shots.
Snow to Iverson. 7-4 Rick Smith snares it. He's got 3 rebounds.
It's such an advantage to have a big guy like Smith who can step out and shoot that jump shot because they got post-up at their guards and forward position. There are post-up advantages.
They almost have post-up advantages in every position when you look at Indiana here.
Mullin to Smith. Rebound by Tyrone Hill, the ex-Cleveland Cavalier and Milwaukee Buck. And here comes Snow working into the defense of Mullin. Swings it to Lynch outside. 38% shooting for Philadelphia. Jalen Rose, initially drafted by Denver. Davis to Crozier for 3. A rare miss for Crozier. Rebound by 6'1" Allen Iverson, weaving through traffic. Got the screen from Lynch and can't convert.
Well, he's short-arming that ball an awful lot, Kevin, because he can't get the extension.
Oh, what a play by Iverson.
He's just amazing. His arm is bothering him. You can tell a little bit on his jump shot from the outside, but it's not bothering him too much to keep him from shooting.
Well, he'll get his attempts, but I don't like the fact that he's penetrating as much as he is because I think he pays the price for that, particularly when he's hurt every time he penetrates, Kevin.
Iverson's got 6. And
this is the perfect example. I mean, you talk to a guy with a broken toe, a bandaged up elbow, and he's challenging, the biggest guys out on the floor there. You're going to have to pay a price if you continue to do that.
Illegal defense, the call on Philadelphia. Here's Mullin. drawing the defense of Hill. Into Smith, mismatch against Lynch, and Crozier is there to clean it up.
Well, they can't let that happen because you're going over to help on Smith. He misses, and Crozier comes in from the weak side. They've got to, because Indiana's so big, they've got to keep them off of the offensive board. You can't give them 2 shots.
Crozier has 8. Indiana shooting 61% from the field. Tyrone Hill at point-blank range miss for Philadelphia. Crozier, the screen. Rose frees himself with a pass to Smith. And Hill is there to reel it in.
76ers have got to get in the open court and create some offense with their speed because they're playing a slow-down game right now, and the advantage goes to the bigger Pacer team right now.
Well, I think one of the things has to happen, Dan, is 76ers feed so much off of Allen Iverson, and he's not going extremely well, that he's got to get started to instill confidence in the rest of the players.
Rick Smith hit from there before, hits there again. Rick Smith has 8 points. Indiana has a lead of 9, their biggest lead in the first quarter.
Well, Kevin, if you look at who the 76ers have out on the floor, if Allen Iverson isn't scoring, who's going to initiate the scoring for that team? The other side of the floor, Indiana has several guys that are very capable of putting the ball in the basket.
Another turnover for Philadelphia. They've got 2. Nice steal inside Ratliff. Touche says Mullin for 3. Chris Mullin from outside. He's got 7 in his second start this season.
And they're playing so loose. I mean, they had a 3-on-1 break right there on the steal, and Mullin jacks up a 3.
Yeah, after he shot that 3, looked over here at the scores table. I thought he was telling me, Danny, just like I used to do against you when I was at St. John's.
The 5-time All-Star, the 2-time Olympian, 36 years of age and looking better than ever.
Where the Magic fell behind 24-5 before mounting a second quarter rally, and they are now trailing by a score of 37-28. The difference for Orlando has been Pat Garrity, 11 points off the bench, and also Chucky Atkins had 6. They're also playing Chucky Atkins and Darrell Armstrong together, 2 very short guys who could be playing in the 6-foot and under league. That's the latest here for Orlando. And Kevin, I miss you. What's happening back there in Philly?
All right, Greg, thank you very much. Orlando was trailing 20-3 early in that game, and now they've come back and closed the gap just a bit.
Well, that's the energy level. If the pace of the game gets up, the way Orlando plays, they pressure, they run, they can make up differences, and they can lose leads very quickly the way, the tempo that they play the game, Kevin.
Here it's 27-15. Indiana is on top with 2:01 to play in the first quarter. Sixers had a 1-point lead early on. Eric Snow is in there. Neither team has made a substitution. No Reggie Miller tonight. No Mark Jackson, both out with injuries. And Eric Snow missing. Rebound by Rick Smith, and he's got 4.
Well, right now, you see Chris Mullin going down to double team in the low post. They have no fear from the outside shooters. They don't care if George Lynch and Eric Snow shoot those outside shots. And at the other end, Indiana has 5 offensive players, guys that are scoring in there. So they have to double team, and you can't leave anybody open.
There's a turnover. Mullin picked off by Lynch. It's Snow off the Hill over Crozier. Another rebound, number 5 for Rick Smith. Jalen Rose working through traffic. First year he's been a full-time starter after coming off the bench the last 3 years. Iverson the other way. And he's got 6. Mullin knocks it away. 1:02 to play in the first quarter.
Well, and Kukoc is coming in the game now, and I think that that's extremely important because Philadelphia's in a position where they're relying so much on Allen Iverson being able to score. And as Danny indicated, if you look down at the other end of the floor at Indiana, they have about 5 different options of guys that can score on that team.
And this is a big move for Philadelphia, bringing Kukoc. He's such a complete player. He scores in so many different ways.
He threw that inbounds away. The alert Chris Mullin with a twirling play. And Mullin is put in 9.
He's so under control, and he's so smart and clever in the passing lane. I'll tell you another guy that's going to help Philadelphia scoring-wise right now is Aaron McKee. He's an offensive threat out there, and it's going to be tougher for them to double team.
Iverson takes it inside. So let's set Philadelphia for you. Kukoc, Iverson, Matt Geiger is in with Aaron McKee, who Larry Brown loves, and Tyrone Hill. And And here comes Jalen Rose. Sam Perkins and McKee are in for Indiana. Rose with the miss and a foul called inside.
Well, it's interesting. Even though Rose can handle the ball, even though he can pass the ball, it's always difficult when you put a guy in the point guard position to know when the play is on him. You usually either end up taking all of the shots or you end up distributing the ball and not looking for a shot at all for yourself. And that's the difficulty when you go into that position.
So here's Rose. In the last 16 games, he's been on fire since the All-Star break. He's averaging 5 more points a game than Reggie Miller, who, Danny, has led Indiana in scoring since the 89-90 season.
Yeah, and you know, the greatest thing, I think, is that Reggie's been willing to let Jalen share in that. And the other thing is that down the stretch, a lot of times Jalen is the go-to guy, which is really amazing for the success that Reggie's had throughout his career.
Well, that's the thing that has surprised me, too, Danny, in watching him. And it shows the confidence that Larry Bird has in him, that when he needs the shot at the end, he has been going to Jalen Rose.
Shot clock at 6. Matt Geiger inside. Geiger had knee surgery early on, but has been more consistent the last couple games. Final seconds of the first quarter ticking off. Rose against Kukoc. No look to Crozier with the fake and a foul. And Geiger drops the anvil on Crozier inside, and Crozier will go to the line.
Crozier has so much energy. He's just diving to the basket, just begging for the ball. He really wants to score, and he knows that it's okay for him to take shots. And that's great confidence in a young player to have.
Well, there's a great pass coming off of the dribble. Jalen got that up and got it to him. I love the fact that Crozier can not only get his shot off of the dribble, but he makes the cut. You know, he uses the screen. He can do almost every phase of offense to get open to get his shot.
Getting 2 free throws right there. His free throw shooting he's very proud of. Practices incessantly. Kukoc at the buzzer. And that concludes a dismal first quarter for Philadelphia, but a glittering first quarter for Chris Mullin. 9 points, 4 of 5 from the field. They're going to need him come playoff time. His Pacers lead Philadelphia 33-19.
Atlanta, wild night in Orlando. The Bucks were on top 20-3. They were on top 24-5, 24-9 after 1. Look at the Magic coming back. 3-pointer for Darrell Armstrong. Cut the lead to 2 in the second quarter. Orlando trying to get in the playoffs. The Bucks get in if they win that game. It's 41-36 in the closing seconds of the first half. Go back to Jam Master Kev.
Welcome back to TBS NBA Monday from Philadelphia. Kevin Harlan, John Thompson, Danny Ainge, Todd Harris from the First Union Center. Right across the street, Veterans Stadium, where the Eagles and the Phillies play. And the old Spectrum is still here. They use that for a lot of college basketball and concerts. We begin the second quarter with Geiger out there. Kukoc, the ex-Chicago Bull, getting it right now. Working on Derek McKee. And leaning into McKee, rebound by Chris Mullin. Mark Jackson and Reggie Miller not playing tonight, so we're going to see a lot of Travis Best, who's in for the first time right here, and Jalen Rose at the point. And a great feed, Best into Sam Perkins with the miss. Rebound by Geiger.
So just in the best, you add speed, whereas before Indiana had a lot of size over the 76ers, but now Larry mixes it up good because you put a guy like Best who's so quick out there that they've got to now cope with his size and his defensive ability to stay in front of ours.
Aaron McKee with the drive inside and a foul. The front court scoring in this game has been eye-opening. Indiana, Danny, has outscored the Philadelphia 76ers front court 22-7. Make it now 22-9.
Well, that doesn't surprise me. You know, Tyrone Hill's not a scorer. Theo Ratliff's not really a scorer. Geiger's probably the best shooter of the group. But now they got Kukoc out there, and they're going to try to rectify that to some extent. They're going to go to him on the low post and hope he could create some easy opportunities.
Aaron McKee at the free throw line. You look at Tony Kukoc, and let's send it over to Todd Harris.
Well, thanks, Kevin. On the last time out, Coach Larry Brown exhorted his team, pick up your man earlier. He's trying to disrupt the flow of Indiana's offense right now, which seems to be running just perfectly. He says, we need stops. Bottom line, we need some stops. Kevin?
And Indiana shooting well. Thank you, Todd. 58% from the floor is Best. It's Crozier spinning into Kukoc, out to McKee, into 38-year-old Sam Perkins with a dazzling move inside on Matt Geiger.
Oh, Big smoothie, they call him. He just slow motion. Him and Chris Mullin may be the slow motion couple, but
I tell you what, Danny, he may be 30, what, 8? But it's no fat on his fingers.
Geiger. He's got 4. That Geiger could be a big factor for the 76ers Cup playoff time, especially if they play Charlotte, where Geiger played a couple years ago. Mullins to Perkins.
Well, Larry wants the 76ers to put more pressure on the ball, but it's going to be a lot more difficult with Best in the game.
Mullin with a nifty pass over to Perkins, who fans. Allen Iverson the other way. He's got 6 points, driving into Best with the whistle and a foul. Called on Travis Best, having the best season of his career.
Well, Sam Perkins, this is the young guys need to learn how to do this in the low post. He wants to get the jump hook. That's his favorite shot. He's been doing it for years, and he just sets it up right here. He gives a little head and shoulders fake, gets the shot that he wants down on the low post.
Well, the problem with that, Danny, is that you can't learn it until you got to wait until you get to be 38. Young guy can't pick that up.
Great pass by Aaron McKee on top to Hill.
Yeah, great pass. Perkins just jumped out, and Hill slid in behind. Got the great pass from McKee for the easy 2.
Travis Best from Georgia Tech. Here comes Perkins as Geiger's kind of bouncing back and forth from one guy to the next. Very active on the defensive end. And with the whistle blown inside, it's on Tony Kukoc, who picks up number 1. Timeout. Big game for the Philadelphia 76ers. If they want home court in the playoffs, they need to win tonight and tomorrow. It's the NBA on TNT tomorrow night beginning at 8 Eastern. The Toronto Raptors against Miami. Toronto at number 6, Miami at number 2 in the East. Then the Seattle Sonics take on the Sacramento Kings. A huge game to decide who will be in that 8th slot in the West. You can see some notes with that game tomorrow night. It'll be the first playoff appearance in the 5-year history of the Toronto Raptors. And once again, 4 consecutive Atlantic Division titles for Alonzo Mourning and the Miami Heat. By the way, Pat Riley and Craig Sager on best of terms after that little conversation they had on Friday night as to why Zoe was not playing early.
Yeah, I loved it. I thought Pat Riley was going to play defense on Craig for a while.
Well, a bigger concern is Tim Hardaway's foot. He re-injured it yesterday in the game, and they really need a healthy Tim Hardaway to have any chance.
Well, they've got to get some outside shooting going, too, because Alonzo's going real well inside, but you've got to get some guys outside to drop some baskets in so that it takes the pressure off of him inside.
Like Austin Crozier right there. He's gone 5 of 6.
Well, that guy, he just scores in so many ways. I mean, he shot threes. He's done it all tonight, and he's very difficult to defend because he's quick off the dribble, and he can knock down that medium-range jump shot.
Here's Geiger with Crozier there, and Crozier picks up the foul, trying to guard Geiger. Crozier in his 3rd year. Not much his rookie season. The lockout last year. But this year, he has really emerged, and he is now one of the prime candidates for not only most improved player in the NBA, but also that 6th man award.
Well, and I give Larry Bird a lot of credit for that, because I think a guy that with that kind of experience in the league feeds off of his coach an awful lot and what he believes in him and how he thinks that he can play.
Good Snow hitting again from outside for Philadelphia. 10-point game. Biggest Pacer lead tonight has been 14. Indiana shooting almost 60%. 42% shooting for Philadelphia. It's Perkins to Rose. They're looking for Crozier, and they got a good defensive stopper. Lynch on him now. That's a battle outside the lane. Jalen Rose inside, playing the off guard right now. Rebound by Kukoc.
Well, Jalen hasn't got it off offensively yet. He's trying to get his feel for the game, playing that point guard position. And even though he's a 2 guard, he's still handling the ball a lot with Travis Best out there.
Well, and you know what else I find interesting, Danny? Everybody's talking about how well Kukoc passes the basketball, but it appears to me that on this 76ers team, they need his offensive scoring more than they need his passing at this point.
Well, they usually try to get a mismatch, but Derek McKee guarding him, you're not going to see them double team much, and so doesn't have the ability to find the open man. He's got to try to create offense in his own.
Exactly. He's got to look for the shot a little bit because they rely so much on Allen that if things aren't going well, that's why Larry is calling for more defensive pressure, because he hopes to get out and get easy baskets.
Travis Best throws it away. Turnovers even at 4 apiece. Snow to Kukoc. No look to Lynch. Pretty play.
Beautiful beautiful pass right there by Kukoc. But that time he took it to the basket and drew more than one defender to him and found the open man.
He'll be a free agent at the end of this season. Kukoc will.
If I were Larry, I'd hate to see him go, though. I tell you that, because I think that with his acclimation to the team and his acclimation to playing with Allen Iverson, they can really have something special in the future.
Oh, nice deceptive move by Perkins, but he can't get it. Kukoc. The rebound to Snow, to McKee, and Geiger. Perkins was steamrolled by McKee. And McKee comes up hobbling, and McKee picks up the foul.
What a great defensive play right there. Good outlet by Kukoc, finding they got a 3-on-1 break. You got to find a way to score here. Great defense by Perkins. 38 years old, nothing to play for, still giving up his body.
And hurt his right knee a week ago last week in New York's Madison Square Garden. Hurt his right knee. He says it's never felt that way before, but he's out there playing tonight.
Well, it's amazing how when you get around playoff time, it rejuvenates a lot of the veteran players.
Crozier with the charge. That's the second on him.
Well, he makes his mistakes being aggressive, though, Kevin, and that's a great sign for a young player like that. You know, he's not sitting back tentative, afraid to do things. He gets out and tries to create plays, try to attack the defense a lot.
John, both teams showing a lot of energy.
Well, I think that they are, but, you know, the 76ers have to discover some offense from somewhere.
Rebound by Crozier. He's got 5. Pacers are +3 in rebounding, 16-13 over Philly. It's Geiger on Perkins. Double by Kukoc with a flash. 10 to shoot for Derek McKee. Double. Geiger was there to help out Kukoc, and then gobbles up the rebound. Out to Tony Kukoc. Into George Wentz. What a play.
And that's the kind of baskets the Sixers have to find. They got to get some easy baskets in the transition off of their defense.
Well, it comes off of, as Danny indicated, it comes off of, and that's why Larry was calling for it, is pressure defense, cause them to miss some shots, get some steals or get some rebounds, and then you get some layups and don't have to be concerned about the shooting as much.
Philadelphia's on a 10-2 run. There was a foul called on George Lynch, who is tagged with his first for the 76ers.
Just a good defensive outlet, and there again, Tony Kukoc shows his great passing abilities in the open court.
Well, especially for a big guy, Danny.
There we go again. Indiana has captured the top seed in the Eastern Conference, and as long as they're alive, they'll have the home court advantage in the upcoming playoffs. Philadelphia, 4 consecutive wins, 8 in a row at home. They've got to win tonight. They've got to win tomorrow in Chicago, does Philadelphia, to secure their home court advantage. Indiana is watching the 76ers on a 10-2 run. And we've got 6:14 to play here in the second quarter. Kevin Harlan, John Thompson, Danny Ainge, and Todd Harris from First Union Center. On a nasty weather day here in Philadelphia. Take a look at Larry Brown. And the 2 guys out playing tonight, Reggie Miller and Mark Jackson. Miller's got a back ailment. Jackson a right thigh contusion, we are told.
I like that. We are told.
Here's Derek McKee looking for Jalen Rose. Dale Davis back in the game with Smith and Best for Indiana. Double teamed is Rose. Oh, a pretty shot by Jalen Rose.
Well, they moved him out of the one spot, and he went down in low, and now he's more relaxed and looking for his own shot. Once he's able to distribute that thought in between passing and shooting in the point guard position, he really will be dangerous. Not to say he's not now.
Tony Kukoc fires a beauty into Geiger.
Another beautiful pass by Tony. They put him out at the top of the key in the point forward position, and he's the reader of the defense. They're trapping the pick and rolls, and he's finding the open man.
He's got 5 assists already. Here comes Travis Best. Looking for Rose. Cross court to McKee. Swinging it down to Smith. Rebound by Aaron McKee. No relation to Derek McKee on Indiana. Kukoc again. Tony Kukoc has taken over this game.
That's 4 in a row. 4 assists in a row by Tony Kukoc.
Well, he's responsible for a lot of points out there on the floor, but I still believe in order for this Philadelphia team to be successful, he's got to contribute more as a scorer.
And he makes a steal right there. He's had 6 assists in 8 minutes. Lynch throws it back to Jalen Rose. Under 5 to play in the first half. Rose to Smith, picked up by the smaller Lynch. Kukoc almost had another steal. Jalen Rose. Dale Davis with a big rebound, a fresh 24-second shot clock, and Travis Best swings it over to an uncovered Jalen Rose for 3. McKee the rebound. Great offensive rebounding.
Well, and that's the thing that happens when you try to steal the way the 76ers are doing, Danny. A lot of times it doesn't leave you in a position to box out, and the team is in a position to get a lot of offensive rebounding.
And the biggest Indiana weakness may be offensive rebounding.
Right. Indiana's the 28th worst offensive rebounding team in basketball, but it's a little bit different lineup without Reggie and Mark Jackson out there.
And it's the 76ers team that's looking to steal so much that they're not in a position to box out.
Philadelphia, one of the top steal teams in the NBA, is Jalen Rose, whose dad was a one-time #1 pick in the NBA, puts in his 6th point tonight.
That's what I love about Jalen. He's learned that from Reggie, I think. He's missed 3 in a row, and he comes down, he doesn't even hesitate, just jacks up the next one. I love that.
Kukoc into McKee and off to Geiger. You know, Kukoc coming here before the trading deadline in the 3-way deal that involved Golden State and the Chicago Bulls. 31 years of age. They're 21-9 with him here. But Danny, the effect that he's had on this team statistically and in the win-loss column, very dramatic.
Well, I think this is the big one right here. You can see he's given easier opportunities for those big guys. They're shooting 51% since he's been here. That just means his passing is that much better. But I think it's probably the key acquisition for any playoff team.
John, one of the most important decisions I'm sure Larry Brown has to make is when to put him in and when to take him out.
Well, that's a decision every coach would love to have, though. When you have a player like that, you know, I think he can contribute so much. He hasn't scored an awful lot today, but he's been responsible for a lot of points in this ball game. I still think if he's playing and Allen's on the floor at the same time, he's got to incorporate his ability to make assists and make the play for other players by scoring himself, because he has the ability to score also.
He had 6 assists in 8 minutes.
And I don't think it's that hard of a decision. I think you play him as much as he can.
Exactly right.
Iverson back in. Here's Rick Smits with a twirling shot that goes down.
Well, that's about the first time he's taken a shot in the post. Larry practiced a lot in talking about how to defend him when he posted up, when Crozier drive, and also when the other people shot outside. But he's been outside shooting most of the game.
By the way, Kukoc is set to come back in, still gasping for air. Allen Iverson playing with a broken toe, a bad elbow, and a banged-up rotator cuff. And probably some other ailments we're not sure of. His body is falling apart. Timeout taken with under 3 to play in the first half. It's Indiana leading Philadelphia 45-37.
Internet.com. Get totally free internet access. Download freeinternet.com because the internet was meant to be free. And by Chrysler, engineered to be great cars.
Allen's trying to deny. We got to all be up with him. Take time off the clock. We're okay. We don't get hurt in the post up. But front, make them throw over the top. We're not going to get beat on that. All right, hey, what's the foul? 5-2. All right, we have a foul to give in the next minute, and then we have one before the half. Be aware that 2 for 1. We got 12 or 13. All right? We got.
Well, right there he's telling them to front, and Coach, that's another reason why they've been getting beat on the offensive boards, is sometimes they're fronting that low post.
Well, and that's definitely true. One of the things he was also saying is that Allen is picking up full court. He wants the other players to come out and pick up full court to try to prevent them from being able to get an easy basket in the post position. It doesn't do any good for one guy to press full court if the other guys aren't up also and putting pressure up there.
John, what is it with Allen Iverson at the free throw line? We just saw Larry Brown. What is the relationship like between these two?
Well, I think they have a great relationship. You know, people misunderstand the fact that when guys have disagreements, you have disagreements within your family. I definitely think they have a good relationship, but it's always going to be a fussing relationship. It's nothing to it, Kevin.
Here's Best out there with Smits, Davis, Derek McKee, and Rose. And as the penetrating Best takes it inside, he's fouled by Iverson, who picks up number 1.
Well, that was the thing that Allen was saying about having Best in there. Mark will try to post him slowly by backing him in, but Best is quick enough to penetrate very quickly, and Allen's got to play better defense and stand in front of the man.
It's good strategy also by Larry to go to Travis Best and have him run some pick and rolls and make Iverson play some defense.
They're looking for Smits inside. Touch pass back to Derek McKee, who is playing with a torn tendon in his ankle. He is half the player he should be on defense, but he hits a three right there on offense.
He's done a pretty good job one-on-one defending Kukoc so far, but he's not the same player that he was earlier in his career.
Wipe it away, will not count. With an Indiana foul assessed on Jalen Rose, tagged with his first. We've only had 16 free throw attempts here in the first half. Not that much as Eric Snow prepares to go to the free throw line. I think we talked about it before, John. Truly one of the most underrated players in the NBA. Truly among guards, great defense, and one of the great on-ball defenders, in fact, in the NBA.
Well, he's the type of player that a coach appreciates, Kevin. He does all of the things that assist other players. He does all of the things that are not recognized. Out playing defense, out getting loose balls, running the offense, getting the ball to the proper people. Coaches appreciate that kind of player.
You may recall his brother Percy played NFL football at Kansas City and a couple other teams after being the Lombardi Award winner out of Michigan State.
He also allows Iverson to play some of the weaker offensive players so he can focus more on offense, and Snow will defend the toughest of the guards, the point guard or the two guards.
Nice fake by Theo Davis with a right-handed sledgehammer for two.
Great play by Davis, but you know, Ratliff is a shot blocker, and you can get him off his feet with some ball fakes anytime.
Snow to Hill. Ratliff is in. Kukoc is in the game as well. There's Allen Iverson, picked up by Best. Shot clock at 7. Trying to wiggle his way inside. Hill with the miss. Look at Rick Smits playing Twister on the floor. Danny, I think you were talking about it. They've already clinched home court throughout the playoffs, yet they're not playing like a team that's got nothing to play for.
I love that Twister on the floor. I've never heard that one before. That's good. No, they are going after the ball. I don't see any sign of Indiana tanking this game in any way, shape, or form. They're playing hard. Allen Iverson's got the bad elbow, the bad knee. Those guys are on the floor going after that ball. This game means something to these guys.
Well, and I thought Allen grimaced when he tried to go by Best that time when he hit him because of his elbow being as sore as it is.
Ratliff across the lane. Pretty play.
Ratliff needs a basket to get him going offensively. He's a guy that can make a few buckets in a row in the low post.
Approaching the final minute of the first half. Big game for the 76ers, looking for home court advantage in the first round of the playoffs. It's Dale Davis with Hill defending. Smith is there with another Indiana offensive rebound. Rose into traffic. Jalen Rose at 6'8", nimbly moves for two.
Well, and that was the key, Kevin, that 6'8", because if he penetrates and gets in the lane, most of the people that are guarding him, he's able to lift over him, and no hand will be in his face because he's too big. This is the kid I'd like to see generate a little bit more offense himself because he's got that ability to do it.
Speak and you shall be granted your wish. Huh?
Well, I think he makes them a lot tougher when he starts to look because he passes so well. He gets other people baskets, but what is very important is his outside shooting, I think.
And Allen Iverson has to work so hard right now. I mean, he's having a tough time just catching the ball, let alone catching and trying to get in scoring position.
Good point. Off of Hill, out of Philadelphia's possession. Now 9 seconds for Indiana. 23 seconds on the big clock.
I know now why Coach Larry Brown and him don't get along as well as they should. He doesn't want to practice. Watching him play today in person, that guy is working hard just to get shots.
Smits. Again, the shot clock now down to 6. McKee wide open is Best inside. Rebound by Theo Ratliff. He's grabbed his 2 rebounds.
Well, Snow is a lot more cautious than Kukoc. When Kukoc got the ball, he wanted to push it a lot faster.
Allen Iverson has 11 points. Final seconds. Rose will try to beat the buzzer with the pass to McKee. Good if it goes. Out. Indiana with the first start this season for Austin Crozier. 12 points, 5 rebounds. And what about Rick Smits? Erratic all season long, but finding a nice 50% from the field with his 12 and 6 combination. And let's send it over to Todd Harris.
Thanks, Kevin. I'm with Chris Mullin. Chris, first quarter, nice game. He looks like he's a little youth in those legs.
I've been well rested all season, so I'm just trying to get ready for the playoffs. And
a lot of you guys, you have the home court wrapped up. You come into this game, but it doesn't look like you guys are just taking this game lightly.
Well, a lot of us haven't played that much, and we got a lot more important games coming up, so we want to get sharp and get feeling good about our games and be ready.
Good luck in the second half.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks for the time.
All right, coming up on the AT&T halftime report, Ernie Johnson, Kenny the Jet Smith will run down all the action in the NBA tonight. And don't forget TBS $1 Million Monday presented by Budget Rent-A-Car, plus the Hubies Part 1. Hubies in studio and live reports from Craig.
Greetings, television viewers.
AT&T halftime report is brought to you by AT&T. It's all within your reach.
24 minutes in the books in Philly. The Indiana Pacers with the #1 seeding in the East, leading the Sixers 52-46. It is time for the AT&T halftime report. Ernie Johnson in Atlanta with Kenny the Jet Smith, and tonight we welcome Hubie Brown to the studio because, well, in a little bit, and on Inside the NBA, he'll be handing out the Hubies. It's a huge night for us, Coach, as you know.
Well, it's always nice to be invited, Ernie.
The door is always open.
Yeah. Ernie invites.
Yeah. Hey, let's talk about the first half of this game. A lot on the line for Philadelphia because Indiana's done everything they need to do. In fact, they're sitting down Mark Jackson and Reggie Miller.
It's very tough to take a game serious when you see Mark Jackson and Reggie Miller sitting on the sideline. Obviously, the implications are not the same for Philadelphia they are for Indiana. But Philadelphia better take this game very serious because we talked earlier upstairs before we came down and didn't let you know, Ernie, that this is a big game where they could slip to the 5th position. And I don't think that they're good enough to not have home court advantage in the first round when this playoff starts. I think when the playoff starts, that Philadelphia's a team that really needs first home court advantage.
Especially in a matchup with Charlotte that will have a day in between games so that you can rest that front line. You know, that they'll play 40 minutes. You know, when you're talking Coleman, Mason, and Campbell, they're going to get their 40 minutes in, and then Eddie Jones. But tonight, this is always a tough matchup for Philly. They had difficulty with Indiana in the playoffs last year. Indiana knocked them out. And Indiana has so much talent that even if Jackson and Miller sit down, they're coming with quality people.
And they're right at 52-46, and Austin Crozier has 12, and so does Rick Smits, and Jalen Rose has 10. Big game in the East tonight. Who's going to have the final playoff spot? George Karl's Bucks would like it. All they got to do is win the game at Orlando tonight. And boy, did they come out full of fire in this game. Ray Allen with the steal, and he cans the jumper. They were up 24-9 after 1. Orlando comes back. They got a lot of energy. They got a lot of guys on that bench like Pat Garrity coming off with a stick. And then Ben Wallace in the 3rd period. Watch him go to work inside. The Orlando Magic, once down 24-5 in that game, closed the gap. Right now, 7-point game with plenty of time left. Only 4:51 left in the 3rd, as a matter of fact. 58-51 is the Milwaukee lead over Orlando. Craig Sager is in Orlando to cover this one. Let us check in with Sags. What you got?
Well, Arnie, as you mentioned, Orlando definitely dodged the bullet because they were trailing 24-5. Doc Rivers called a couple of timeouts. Benches the entire starting 5, and then Pat Garrity and Chucky Atkins helped bring them back. Now, the big play, I think, was Ben Wallace and Bo Outlaw. Those are the 2 leading rebounders for Orlando. They had only 2 rebounds in the first half. Did not play very well at all. As you saw, Ben Wallace scored early in the 3rd quarter. So did Bo Outlaw, trying to get those guys involved. But right now, Milwaukee is playing very well. However, they're not getting a big production out of Ray Allen. He had 6 points in that 24-5 run. He has only 1 field goal since. So Ron Mercer's doing a good job defensively against Ray Allen. That could be the difference. All year long, Orlando has never given up. They have fought back. But again, they have never come from 19 points down. Let's go back down to Ernie, Kenny, and Hubie.
Thank you, Steggs. And the roar goes up as Chucky Atkins knocks down a jumper. You got Chucky Atkins and Darrell Armstrong on the lineup at the same time. And it's shoot low, boys. They're riding Shetland. So that's a little backcourt there. But he'd mentioned Ray Allen, who's had huge games of 29, 26, and 33 as the Bucks have won all 3 meetings so far. How do you see this one progressing at this point?
Well, if you look at the Milwaukee Bucks, obviously they have more talent. They have more scoring opportunities. They have guys who can put the ball in the basket. They have guys in that 9th and 10th man that probably would start for the Orlando Magic. However, they don't have the same energy. They don't have the same spirit, it seems, this year. And I think the Orlando Magic right now are putting that pressure on, and it's going to see guys like Darvin Ham and Irvin Johnson from Milwaukee, those energy guys, if they can match the energy that Orlando has.
Well, this is a test for the big three. Robinson and Allen and Sam Cassell must step up now. You have the lead. You know, sure, you got out to the early start 20-3, but you know the energy factor that Orlando plays with, and the 10 guys, rotating the 10 people. That's why you're not shocked. Garrity comes in off the bench, gives you a quick 11, and we have no idea. They're liable to bring in a guy off the injured list in the second half here, and the guy's liable to get 14 in the last quarter. So with Orlando this season, come on, they are never out of any game, especially at home.
And the storyline on this one, if the Milwaukee Bucks win the game, they are in the playoffs. If Orlando wins the game, they still have some work to do, but they would be in the driver's seat. We'll keep you up to speed on that game in Orlando as the night goes on. When we come back on the AT&T Halftime Report, the first of the Hubies will be handed out. That's for the Coach of the Year. The game you're watching here on TBS, the Philadelphia 76ers at home, trailing by a half dozen.
You guys go ahead.
No, boy, I tell you, winning a Hubie for me, I don't know. I made the All-Star team one year. I think a Hubie would be more important. I've strived to be the best. And if you can get a Hubie, that would validate that.
It is absolutely amazing.
And he just might get it.
This thing has taken on a life of its own over the last few years. It is the talk of the league.
I heard you even going to have like the top analysts and the top sportscaster. You know what happened?
So you be a top analyst here. You're going to be a coach pretty soon. Ernie's going to be looking for another guy in your chair. Come on. You realize how many guys have bounced from this chair into the coaching ranks?
It's a real springboard, is it not? Anyway, we want to get into the Hubies. We're going to have a bunch of them on Inside the NBA, but let's get things started, Coach, with, well, your corner of the world, coaches. Let's get this thing going.
Well, Ernie, it's a difficult test to pick out 5 guys. But number 5 for me is Flip Saunders at Minnesota. Did an outstanding job. Started the season a little slow. 4 key guys up front injured. They are the masters of winning close games, and that's always a tribute to the coaching staff. Next, this young guy has done a magnificent job. 52 wins in spite of adversity. No Kid, no Gugliotta, no Chapman. He's given them defense and discipline. And here the old-timer. They take this guy for granted year after year. Another division championship as he brings in Armand Gilliam and Polynice. And the club, the old 3 guys, the standbys, are doing it night in and night out. Now, this guy has had a sensational year. February, March, and April, how about 33-3? 3 winning streaks, 19, 16, and 11 games. There is a ton of talent there right now, and he's on his way to a potential NBA championship. But to me, the coach of the year is Doc Rivers. Anytime that you are rotating 10 guys and 5 of them have never been drafted, then you know that the coach is working a major miracle. He's in every game. They're 40-40 going into tonight. And then you have to look at this and say they are $18 million under the cap. He has a team that's run on a shoestring, and we all know that the leader of this is the coach.
Now, what were the chances, Hubie, back in November of you thinking, yeah, when I give out the Hubies, Doc Rivers will probably be the coach of the year?
Well, you know, Ernie, over the summer, everyone said, come on, 27 different transactions, 30-some-odd players. What are they doing down there? Even Doc questioned whether or not he made a mistake. Right. Because he said, hey, I didn't anticipate this. I thought I was going to have, you know, the Big 5 from a year ago that tied Indiana for the best record in the East. So when they went to this type of a team, I know what this is all about because it happened to us in Atlanta many years ago. And what it is a great communication with 10 players and the coaching staff driving them, and the players respecting the energy and the preparation put in by this coaching staff. And you can see it night in and night out. A new guy steps up invariably to win a ball game for them. And it's just nice to see because Doc and his staff knew, and then 10 guys have gotten it together. Beautiful.
Well, I have a discrepancy.
Oh, that's all right.
I don't understand how Paul Silas from the Charlotte Hornets could be left off. And Scott Skiles did a great job. But he has a world of talent up there to me. I think that when Paul Silas came in, he wasn't sure what he had up there. I think he could have slid in, and even some dark horse guys. You think of what a guy like Rudy T done with the Rockets. All of those injuries, and has those guys playing down at the end. I think even guys like that should get consideration. Not winning the award, but some consideration.
Well, unfortunately, you know, like when you go and you have $1 and you go into the ice cream that has 32 different flavors.
Exactly.
You know, unfortunately, you only can buy so much, you know, for $1. Well, I only have 5 places here.
Okay.
Right?
And
so I'm trying to be objective about this.
I understand they've stopped the game in Orlando to present Doc the ball. And a Hubie. Back to put the wraps on.
I'm waiting for my Hubie. I want my Hubie.
In just a second.
World-renowned Philadelphia Art Museum. This is TBS NBA Monday from the city of brotherly love. A cold and windy April night. Well, time now, especially in light of what happened last week, for the budget rent-a-car TBS NBA $1 million shot. Steve Hutchins on the left, Kevin Johnston on the right, both sharpshooters. But this kid won the chance, lofting a 3/4 court shot. John, just a little bit outside.
Fort Knox, Kevin. If money is in Fort Knox.
Plus, he's not a man of the cloth. Last week in New York,
but he blessed himself more than the man of the cloth did, so I thought maybe his would go in.
Hey, talking about a man who has been blessing his team, Tony Kukoc has been blessing his fellow teammates with some outstanding passing.
Well, the thing is, you know, for a guy his size, Danny, he off of the dribble, he passes well off of the catch, but more importantly, he gives guys passes that they can handle and convert into scores.
Yeah, Tony's been a big addition. The question is, he only played 12 minutes in the first half. How long is Larry going to let him sit over there in this second half?
Let's check in with Todd Harris.
Thanks, Kevin. Well, Larry Brown preaching the basics, basketball 101. He said we've got to get some stops here. We've got to keep Indiana inside the paint, getting easy baskets. He likes the shot selection. He's just not happy what the results are. Back to you.
All right, Todd. Philadelphia shooting 46%, Indiana 54%. Nice defense inside, but whacked right back out to George Lynch, who bangs it in.
They need some outside shooting out there.
Well, especially on that one, Allen Iverson, when that shot was blocked, he had to fully extend his elbow, and that was the elbow that he was hurt before the game.
And through the first 24 minutes of this game, some numbers.
Well, right here, the key stat is 46% by the 76ers. They shot 58 when Tony Kukoc came into the game in the second quarter. And just to talk more about Tony and the impact he had on that game.
Well, because he got people layups too, Kevin, with those passes he threw.
Mullin picked up the foul. At the other end is second. Out of bounds it goes with 13 seconds to shoot. Indiana shot no free throws in the second quarter. Take a look at Larry Bird sitting tonight a lot. Normally he walks and stands because his back is in so much pain. That was ricocheted out of bounds. And we're down to 12 seconds to fire. But Dick Carter is one assistant on the left and Rick Carlisle on the right. By the way, that job, guys, is going to open after the season. Either of you interested in that head coaching job?
No, but Rick Carlisle went there with the understanding that he might get that job. I hope he gets it. He's a great coach, and I think he'll be in the same category as the Doc Rivers and Scott Skiles.
That's heady company after watching the Hubies down in Atlanta. Chris Mullin. Crozier tried to get it in. Fighting off one defender after another. Allen Iverson digs it out. Here comes Philadelphia. Squeezing one off the hill. What a play.
Well, it was a great pass, and he rewarded the big man for running. And that's always a good sign because then he'll rebound more and defend more.
Rose and a foul with a shove, and it's on Indiana.
Well, and I think that was a great acting job on Allen's part. You know, I'm glad to see him try to do something like that. You know, because usually he just goes toe-to-toe with people.
We just saw a picture of Larry Bird kind of following up what we were talking about. He will leave the post. He said this will be his last year as the head coach. His decision. He wants to leave after this season as the head coach.
I don't like that decision. I hate to see him leave coaching because I think he's doing a great job, and particularly when you see him bring the confidence out of Crozier and out of Rose.
I think you said it last week, John. It's really one of the special people in basketball.
Really special people in basketball.
Hill, the reverse. Smith fighting inside, lassoing his 7th rebound.
Smith is doing a good job. He's shooting the ball from the outside. He's scoring inside. He looks like he's playing with a lot of energy.
And he gets the feed from on the wing, and Jalen Rose right on the money with the pass.
On his size, coming down the lane, Jalen Rose being as big as he is, the passing lane is above everybody when the two of them are trying to pass to each other. And Smith made a great cut down the lane that time.
Rose has 7 assists. Iverson looking for an assist to Lynch, and he gets it right there.
Well, that's 2 in a row for Lynch from the outside. They need that outside shooting to open up some penetration for Allen.
Well, the guys after Danny look to shoot, too. They look so reluctant. These guys aren't that bad as shooters, but they're so reluctant being specialists and passing to Allen that they've got to look for the shot.
Here comes Iverson, up court to Snow. Cross court to Lynch, wide open. George Lynch has 16 points.
Well, and they're getting him off a transition. Larry said he liked the shot selection. Well, you have to like it when you get the point-blank layup out there. But that comes from playing good pressure defense.
We're tied for the first time since 4-4. Philadelphia's had one lead of a point early in the game. Smith's no looks, and Dale Davis can't pin it. It's Lynch in Philadelphia looking for a lead on a 3-on-1. Snow to Ratliff. Philadelphia has the lead.
Across America, AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. And by the new film U-571, starts April 21st at theaters everywhere. Philadelphia leads Indiana. Philadelphia leads Indiana 56-54, and since late in the second quarter, the 76ers, Danny, on a 14-2 run.
Well, their defense has really picked up. They got their defensive lineup out there with Eric Snow and Tyrone Hill and Lynch and Ratliff and Iverson, and they're doing a much better job defensively, and they're getting some easy baskets in transition.
Smith's looking for Rose, and that worked out well.
Well, they utilized his size so well. That was just the opposite of what happened before. Smith's got it, hit a big Rose cutting down against a small guard.
Tied again at 56. Iverson pulling up his britches and taking it down the lane, getting the loose balls. Crozier is there. Firing to Ratliff. Swings it outside to Lynch with the Tyrone Hill screen. Ratliff with the offensive rebound.
Well, I think that was a pass. Allen was trying to throw Lynch an alley-oop, but got into traffic and had to force up a pass.
Mullin is on Snow. Screen by Hill. Look at Snow carrying his way down the lane. Dale Davis is there. We're tied at 56.
Good defense by Indiana right there, but you can see the difference. They can't really get anything going in transition. Not quite as swift a feet.
Smith did not catch up with the pass.
Well, and Danny talked about how swift they were. I think that's one of the problems with them getting back in transition defense. They've got this big lineup in, but this lineup is slow. When Philadelphia does get a rebound or stolen ball, Indiana can't get back to stop them.
Iverson and Rose jousting. And a foul out on the perimeter. Nope, illegal defense is the call. That's the first on the Indiana Pacers.
It's a good job by Philadelphia in the last possession to front that post. Larry Brown kept talking about it in practice today and talking about it in the timeouts. And they got the turnovers, and they're having a tough time getting the ball to the player they want on those mismatches.
Here we are tied at 56. Philadelphia needs to win tonight and tomorrow for home court in the first round as Eric Snow feeds Ratliff. And the rebound by Chris Mullin.
Well, they're making good passes, but they don't have people that can hit those shots that they're throwing the ball to. If they don't get it off of their defense and come down in transition, they're not making baskets in the half-court sets.
As Crozier tend to shoot down the lane to the hole, and a foul on George Lentz of Philadelphia. Big story developing in Orlando. Let's send it to Atlanta and Ernie Johnson.
All right, thank you very much, Kevin. We've been telling you about that Bucks Magic matchup all night long. If the Bucks win the game, they're in the playoffs. If Orlando wins the game, they still have a magic number of 1 to get into the field of 8 in the Eastern Conference. But there's another story developing there, and it involves one of Milwaukee's big 3. Ray Allen has had 3 huge games and 3 Milwaukee wins against Orlando, but late in the third quarter, you saw it there moments ago, Ron Mercer rolling into the leg of Ray Allen. Allen went down and was taken from the floor. He is not expected to return to the game. It's a 4-point game after 3 periods, 68-64. Let's go down to Craig Sager. What's up with Ray Allen, Craig?
Well, Ernie, when the injury first occurred, he went to the bench. Trainer Mark Feil came over and looked at it. He thought at that point it was a hyperextended knee. Ray Allen said he thought he could go back in the game. He then walked in the back hallway and collapsed. A lot of pain. He was in tears. He has now been taken into the locker room. They updated the injury right now. They say it's at least a knee sprain, so it does not look good. Ray Allen definitely will not be back tonight. We don't know how severe the injury is, but it looks a lot worse than it was earlier. Ernie?
All right, thank you very much, Craig. So that's the latest on Ray Allen. And, that game at one point was 24-5, a 19-point Milwaukee lead. It's now a 4-point Milwaukee lead as they play early in the fourth quarter down there in Orlando. We'll keep you up to speed on that game. Right now, let's go back to Philadelphia and Kevin Harlan.
Thank you, Jay. Here, Indiana leads by 1. There's a foul called on the Indiana Pacers. It's on Jalen Rose, who just hit a 3-point shot to put the Pacers up moments ago, and then he was countered by Philadelphia's Theo Ratliff, who hit a little shot off the block. And so that brings us to 59-58 Indiana with under 6 to play in the third. Pacers shooting 51%, Philadelphia 43%. Iverson's got 11 points. He's in the lane with a dazzling play. Oh, what a way! 13 for Iverson. Throws at the other end. Rebound by Lynch. Out to Iverson. 3-on-1. Behind the basket. Snow.
Iverson's got this crowd going right now. It was a great up and under over the 7'4" Rick Smith. You gotta love this guy's heart, and the Sixers right now are just playing with a lot more urgency.
Well, and he's playing through pain, that's the thing. But this guy, Chris Mullin, is accustomed to shooting the basketball also.
Oh, I love that shot right there. The crowd's going crazy, and he just calmly hits with 3 feet behind the line.
He's got 2 threes tonight, 12 for the game. Iverson puts in a 3. 16 points for Iverson.
Well, I think the little guy's warmed up that sore elbow right there.
This is like a playoff game tonight.
It is like a playoff game. And Iverson right now, like I said, they're playing with so much more energy defensively. They're undersized at every position. We'll see how long that they can play with this kind of intensity.
Iverson is all over the floor.
Well, and if you're looking at him, I mean, he's penetrating. And as Danny said, you know, he scoops under 2 big guys. He's shooting outside. He's grimacing after the shot, but he's taking the shot, and he's making it.
Ratliff was whacked by Smits, and a foul called on Rick Smits. It's number 3. Remember, Iverson playing with a broken toe, a bad rotator cuff, and a banged-up right shooting shoulder.
Well, somebody forgot to tell him that, though, didn't they?
And then he just knocked in this 3.
Yeah, it doesn't look like the sore elbow right there. Full extension, nothing but net.
16. Iverson is averaging 28 a game. One of the top scorers in the NBA. Here's Theo Ratliff at the free throw line for Philadelphia. The 76ers come in having won 4 consecutive games. 6 of their last 7, but 8 in a row at home. That's why home court, should they face Charlotte, will be so key.
It is going to be key. You know, home court again, that deciding game is the most important game. But they got to have home court, I think, if they have a chance of beating Charlotte. I think whoever has home court will win that series.
And Philadelphia has to win tonight and tomorrow in Chicago to guarantee it. They're going inside to Smits. The smaller 6'7" George Lynch was down there combating him and draws the foul. And that for Lynch is number 3.
Well, and he can't play behind Smits. He's got to do exactly what Larry Brown said today in practice. He's got to get around him. But I tell you what, he was putting great pressure on Jalen Rose and then came back to check Smits. So Lynch was doing a heck of a job.
And there's Austin Crozier again.
And Austin just looks like he's so comfortable. I mean, that guy, he knows he's one of the best players on the court, and that's a little bit surprising, but the more we've seen him play this year, the better he's gotten.
Well, he plays, Danny, like a guy much older than somebody's been in just a little bit of time he's been in.
Allen Iverson has been an acrobat. He's got 18 points, and a bunch have come here. 7 in this third quarter.
And Allen's competitive instinct surpasses his pain. And that's the thing that's so good about him, that when he gets in a competitive situation, he really thrives on that.
So does Crozier. A traveling violation called on Larry Bird's starting forward tonight, Austin Crozier. Indiana playing without Mark Jackson on the bench with a right thigh bruise, and no Reggie Miller, who's got, as they tell us, a back injury, not playing tonight.
Well, Larry's yelling at the ref saying, yeah, he traveled, but he got mugged. The guy was pushed into a travel.
Offensive foul on Philadelphia. The shove inside, it goes on Hill. He's got 2 tonight.
Right here, Crozier, he's so calm on the shot right there. Tyrone Hill goes for that steal. We talk about Philly getting a lot of steals, but just perfect rotation coming off his fingers, total concentration on the basket, and that comes from hours and hours. Nobody works harder on their game in the offseason than Austin Crozier.
3 by Mullin won't be sunk. Smits kicks it back to Chris. Screen by Smits. Mullin tries to pry his way inside. Picked up by Snow. They've got numbers 3 on 2. Into Hill. The Philadelphia fast break, Danny, is shifted into a whole other gear in the third quarter.
Well, that's the one advantage they have, is speed. Indiana has the size, and they're taking advantage of pressure defense and getting them in the open court for a lot of easy transition baskets.
Well, and there's nothing in the world like good pressure defense, getting out and running, and that's an advantage, particularly if you play that kind of game on your home court.
Timeout.
EJ in Atlanta updating the Bucks and the Magic. The last time Orlando was this close, it was 2-2. But when Darrell Armstrong just buried the jumper, the game was 73 apiece with 7 minutes and 25 seconds to go in the game. If the Bucks win, and they've taken the lead now 75-73, they're in the playoffs. If Orlando wins the game, they're still in the hunt. Their magic number would be 1. Take it, Kev.
And EJ, maybe not the dire consequences here, but Philadelphia needs to win tonight and tomorrow night in Chicago to assure themselves of home court in the first round. Indiana is already, John, the top seed in the East. They've got home court throughout as long as they're still alive.
Well, and that's true, but in the same token, you still want to play well, and they are playing well. I just think that the pressure now of the 76ers is getting to them. They're getting out and getting some break, and really the Indiana players look a little winded right now because this tempo in this arena is not what they would want to have.
Tyrone Hill hits it. He now has 10. Take a look at Chris Mullin, who has 12. Philadelphia leads at 71-64. Under 3 to play in the third. Rose to Crozier. into Smith. Rick Smith, who's had a very erratic season, has really leveled his game and playing well tonight.
He's playing very loose tonight, and he's got a size advantage in there. Doesn't have to put the ball on the floor to allow the double teams to get there. And when they can't front him, he's going to be able to get a shot anytime he wants.
Well, especially if you're putting as much pressure on the ball as the 76ers are on the perimeter, the center's going to be wide open once the ball gets in there.
Ratliff the miss. Illegal defense is blown on Indiana. That's the second. And so that means a technical shot and possession. What are you laughing about, Dan?
I got a kick out of Larry Brown. He was yelling for 3 seconds on Rick Smith's shot before. And then down here, Theo Ratliff was just standing in the lane, caught the ball in the post with 1 foot inside the lane, and I counted on myself 5 seconds. I didn't see him yelling to the refs on that one.
And let's swing it over to Todd Harris.
Kevin, on that last timeout, Coach Larry Bird told his team to get back to the offensive aggressiveness that they had in the first half. And he says they're letting Philadelphia get too many easy baskets, i.e. Allen Iverson, not having him work hard enough for him. Back to you.
Approaching 2 minutes to play here in the third quarter. A three by Iverson. What elbow? What rotator cuff? What toe? He's either a medical miracle or he's in excruciating pain and fighting through it in a crucial game.
Both of the above.
Great rejection by Theo Ratliff.
Well, Allen was having a tougher time scoring with Jalen Rose on and making him drive every time. It's tougher for him to create space for his jump shot. Travis Best is a much better defender off the dribble than Jalen, but that size, I think, bothers Allen.
Ratliff looked like he was playing handball. And a quick foul. And there's the aforementioned Ratliff, who picks up his first foul tonight. Played at the University of Wyoming. And the block shots even with 1:48 to play here in the third quarter.
Well, and I think the name of the game right now for the 76ers have been defense. Even though they're scoring points, they're putting a lot of pressure on Indiana at half court. They've taken away a lot of the outside shooting. As a result of it, they've gotten down and gotten a lot of layups, just like they're doing right here.
Smith picks up the foul as Lynch was off to the races. 4 fouls on Rick Smith.
Well, the 76ers right now are instigating all the physical play, and Indiana's not responding. They're just kind of trying to not reacting to the plays, but the physical play, they're getting all the calls, and they're getting everything good happening to them right now, all the breaks.
And that's why you want home court advantage. Because once you get in your own surroundings, the fans get involved. It helps your defense. It gives it incentive. It helps your fast break. It gives it incentive.
Philadelphia is still searching for that killer instinct, putting teams away, and they're going to try to do that tonight. And if they do it, you can be very assured that they'll do it with defense. As you see 3 players, Lynch, Snow, and Iverson, in the top 20 in steals in the NBA.
Well, they've got to do it with defense, because when you force them to run their half-court stuff, they don't have a lot of outside shooters. But when they play good defense and can get out in the break, it makes them a totally different offensive team.
They grab you by the throat, squeeze. Smith. Mullin, Crozier was covered. Rose on top, dueling with Iverson. Crozier to Rose. Austin Crozier sets it up well.
Well, that's a great second effort by Crozier and a great pass to Rose. But, you know, the 76er defense, they're making it so much harder on the Indiana offense. They can't get the ball to the post players that they have an advantage on.
What a pass by Snow. He threads it with a great feed inside.
And what was significant with that is they got that off of their half-court set. That might have been one of the best shots that they've been able to get off of their half-court set. The rest of it has been off a fast break as a result of traps like that.
Suffocating defense by Philadelphia. Iverson and Snow were teaming up on Rose.
Well, we saw him working on this very play. He just turns and spins and throws the back door. It's a pre-called play by Larry Brown. And they're just going to take advantage of Smith, whose feet were stuck to the floor on that play.
Geiger and Kukoc come in for Ratliff and George Lynch. With 51 seconds to play, we are in the third quarter. This is, as you can see, the first free throw attempt since the first quarter, and he doesn't get it. Indiana is the #1 free throw shooting team in the NBA.
Yeah, but they just don't get to the free throw line enough.
And they don't have Reggie Miller, who's #2 in the league in shooting. at the line.
Well, you need a guy like Mark Jackson, who also is a great passer and gets people a lot of layups off the cut.
We haven't seen Dale Davis in this half. Eric Snow, who played a couple years ago for Seattle, said he learned so much by listening to Nate McMillan and watching Gary Payton. That's what he says has made him the player he is now. Travis Best.
I tell you what, that 76er defense is really good now because they're defending the outside shooters and trapping as they did there an opportunity.
Travis Best with the miss. Out of bounds it goes, and Philadelphia will have a little over 13 seconds with which to work as you take a look at Larry Brown, who is taking his 6th team in professional basketball to the playoffs, as he did last year with the 76ers. The only coach ever to do that. 6 different teams.
And he's got these guys playing great defense. I don't know what he told them at halftime, but this defense is spectacular.
Iverson. Rebound by Smith. Seconds will tick off. And Indiana, who at one time led by 14 points, trailing by 10 at the end of 3. Allen Iverson exploding in the third quarter with 10 points. 21 for the game, and the all-star starter from Hampton, Virginia, thriving in the city of brotherly love. At the end of 3, it's Philly by 10.
Back here in our TBS NBA Monday Atlanta studio, I'm Ernie Johnson. Let's update what's going on between the Milwaukee Bucks and the Orlando Magic, specifically the injury to Milwaukee's Ray Allen. It happened late in the third quarter. Scramble for a loose ball. Ron Mercer rolled on Ray Allen's knee. Orlando team doctors have looked at Ray Allen. They say it is a sprained knee and that he will be re-examined tomorrow in Milwaukee and will have an MRI. Obviously, he is done for the night for the Milwaukee Bucks, who are in a tight game with the Orlando Magic. Orlando never had a lead in this game until late in the fourth quarter. They've taken 3 two-point leads in this game. Orlando, if they win, with a shot at the playoffs. Milwaukee, if they win this game, because they win the tiebreaker, would get in the playoffs. And this is a live look at TD Waterhouse Center, packed tonight to watch the Magic and the Milwaukee Bucks. It is 83-81. Milwaukee trailing Orlando. Pat Garrity with the bucket with 1:18 to go to give the Orlando Magic the lead. It is 83-81, 1:17 to go in that game. We will, of course, keep you up to speed on that, and we'll always have bonus coverage hanging around here, guys, in case we need that to bring you the live action. 83-81. Let's go back to Kev.
Great job, Ernie. Thank you very much. You folks have kept us so much on top of a very important game in the Eastern Conference of the NBA. Our fourth quarter is underway. Eric Snow for Philadelphia throws it away. Chris Mullin just hit a 3 to inaugurate the fourth. And the 76ers lead is cut down to 7, 78-71. Indiana shooting 50%, Sixers 48%. Rose, bullets a pass to Best, and a beauty at one.
Well, the difference is right now, the first 2 possessions, they're getting the ball to Chris Mullin. They've been fronting the low post, having a difficult time to get it into the post. Chris has made 2 beautiful passes. A very underrated aspect of the game is the post speed.
Sam Perkins in for Indiana. Tony Kukoc nails a 2-point shot. He got 3 championship rings playing with Michael Jordan in Chicago. Traded this past February, and he is thriving in Philadelphia.
Well, that's just what the doctor ordered. In order for them to run half-court sets, he's got to help him with his outside shooting because he's a great outside shooter. Most of the baskets they've got, they've been transitional baskets.
Jalen Rose. Rebound by George Lynch. He's got 5 points. They get 5 rebounds and 16 points as Jalen Rose hip checks Snow, and that's the 3rd on Rose.
And that's a frustration foul right there on Rose because he thought that Snow did the same thing to him down at the other end, and that's what he's telling the official right now.
Snow is tough. He tries to reflect his coach, Larry Brown, a one-time starting guard in the old ABA. Timeout with Philadelphia leading by 7.
Ernie Johnson in our TBS NBA Monday studio. A live look as we bring you some bonus coverage of the Orlando Magic and the Milwaukee Bucks. It was a tie game until just seconds ago. The big dog, Glenn Robinson, not having a good shooting night, but ahead of the pack there to break an 83-83 tie. The Milwaukee Bucks lead it 85-83. They are 14.8 seconds away from earning a spot in the top 8 and a playoff berth in the Eastern Conference. They are up by 2 over Orlando. You see the time there. The Magic with the ball. Let's go to bonus coverage with David Steele and Jack Givens with the call.
Shot Glenn Robinson has made tonight might be the game winner. A breakaway layup. And the Magic using one of their remaining timeouts. They have one full timeout and one 20-second timeout still remaining. Tonight's Subway sub of the game. An outstanding job by Pat Garrity with 15 points. He hit a big shot on a rebound and putback. 6 rebounds for Pat. Right now this team just trying to figure out a way to at least tie this game up and perhaps send it into an extra period, or they could look for the three-point shot with Garrity and Atkins and Armstrong all on the floor.
Well, I think what the Magic will try to do is get the ball in the hands of Chucky Atkins and see if Chucky can break the defense down and kick it out to the three-point line. The one problem is Chucky may not get the respect of the officials if there's contact. So that's a chance you take when you give him the ball. But you're exactly right. The Magic do have options of going to the three-point line. Irvin Johnson has been a huge factor in the paint for the Milwaukee Bucks. He's done a great job of closing off the inside. And while he has only 3 blocks in this game, I say only 3, he has 3 blocks in this game, he has forced a lot of other misses. So we'll see if Chucky Atkins is able to handle the ball and if he can create and get a shot for the Magic.
The Magic just turned the ball over. Glenn Robinson hit an uncontested layup to give Milwaukee a 2-point lead. They led by 19 early. They led 24-5 early in the game. The Magic have battled back, and here we go. Garrity surrounded by Ham. Chucky for 3. Ham backs it out front with 2 seconds left. And that is the end of the basketball game. Milwaukee advances to the playoffs. The final score is 85-83 Bucks. A heartbreaker for the Magic, who scrambled back. And Chucky Atkins had a wide open look at a 3-point field goal. He's hit some big shots tonight, but could not knock down the one that probably would have spelled victory for the Orlando Magic. And Dale Armstrong literally has to be scraped up off the floor.
Well, tell you one thing, you can't ask for a better shot. I mean, you run your play, you get the look you want. It's a shot Chucky's made a bunch of here in the fourth quarter. I mean, really all season long. You get what you want out of it. It just doesn't go down.
Well, here's the look that Chucky had. Unbelievably, Irvin Johnson gave Chucky ample room to get off a good shot.
Boy, and Ham makes a great play, doesn't he?
Yeah, just get it out of there.
Just knock it down to the other end.
Tim Thomas, our Sprint PCS player of the game. And
bonus coverage here on TBS. And with that 85-83 win, the Milwaukee Bucks are in the playoffs. They are number 8 right now. Could still move up to number 7 depending on what Detroit does. But they are in, and that's what George Karl was looking for. And 85-83. And guys, I think back to a week ago tonight, before the first of these Monday night showdowns between these two, and Milwaukee was 2 games out and looking like, boy, they're cooked. But they have come back over the last week, and now they are in there.
Well, I think that you have to say, Ernie, it's about time that this team started to play to their potential. And on that last play, Orlando came off that screen and roll, and I think they were surprised because Milwaukee switched, and they had Robinson on Atkins on the dribble, and he could not turn the corner. By going into the corner with the pass, then Robinson dropped off, which opened it up for Atkins to get a wide-open shot. But if you go back over the season, Chucky Atkins has carried this team down the stretch in many a win.
Yeah, just like Hubie said, it was a great look, great shot, the shot they wanted. But if you look at the last play, it's probably indicative of the whole Magic season. Darryl Armstrong, Chucky Atkins laying on the floor, have to be picked up. They leave it on the floor.
You're exactly right. Let's go down to Craig Sager, who's been in Orlando to watch this one. Craig?
Well, I'll tell you what, it was a very exciting game. Falling behind 24-5 before that incredible comeback. And as you mentioned, Orlando actually did take the lead in that fourth quarter. But the difference was Tim Thomas. Thomas did not start the game, but he had 21 points. He also had the game winner, and he's coming here right now with us. First of all, Tim, you have Ray Allen in the locker room with an injured knee. You have Glenn Robinson struggling offensively. You took over. What did you feel you had to do?
I mean, they was doubling Glenn, they was doubling Sam, and, you know, I just felt as though, you know, Pat Gowdy had, you know, slow feet. And once I got the ball, I used my quickness, you know, to get around him to get into the lane and draw fouls. And I was just making shots.
A sellout crowd, the loudest crowd they've had all year. What did Coach tell you when they took the lead?
Not much. He just told us to relax and, you know, keep playing our style of ball, and eventually it'll turn around.
What does it mean for you guys to be in the playoffs?
I mean, it's big. I mean, you know, all year, I mean, our fans has been getting on us back home, but, you know, we're here now, and hopefully they come out and support us.
You got to see Ray Allen moments ago. How is he?
He's all right. I mean, I haven't talked to him. Everybody's jumping around in the locker room, but I'm going there right now to celebrate with him.
All right, congratulations, Ray Allen. We'll have an MRI tomorrow with an apparently sprained knee. Back to you, Ernie.
All right, thank you very much, Craig. Once again, the Milwaukee Bucks are in the playoffs in the Eastern Conference, and they win it 85-83 in Orlando and sweep the season series 4-0. Much more on that game on Inside the NBA. We'll take a break, and then we'll send you back to Philadelphia.
Welcome to the back at the First Union Center in Philadelphia. Kevin Harlan, John Thompson, Danny Ainge, Todd Harris. Indiana has come back. Chris Mullin hit a three. Travis Best hit a two-point shot. Derek McKee also knocked in an uncovered three-point shot. And we've got a game with the 76ers leading Indiana 82-81. You see the shooting this quarter. It's Jalen Rose working on Eric Snow. Out to Perkins. Slapped away by a very energized Iverson.
Well, one of the things I think that the 76ers got ahead with their defense, and the same thing got them behind because they continued to gamble, and then they started to leave a couple of Indiana three-point shooters open after covering them very well, and then now they find themselves in a different position.
Jalen Rose for the lead, and it's down. Indiana has come back from 10 down, much to the delight of Reggie Miller, and they lead Philadelphia 84-82.
Philadelphia's defense, like Coach said, was so dominant there in the third quarter, outscored them 32-16. But Indiana's aggressiveness on offense, like Larry Bird was preaching during the timeouts, be more aggressive, get the ball into the post, create the double teams, and they've been knocking down all the outside shots.
Inside, Snow trying to penetrate, lost the ball, out of bounds. About 6 to play in this fourth quarter.
Well, and that's the thing about pressure defense. Sometimes it comes in spurts. You've got to come off of it and just play pretty basic and cover these outside shooters. But if you're gambling and trapping, you're going to leave people open. If you consistently do it, then an experienced player like Chris Mullin will find the gap and be able to take the shot.
And I think he's been the real difference so far with his passing into the post. They were fronting, taking away the inside action, Philly was. And then when Chris Mullin became the post feeder, they had much more success.
Kukoc driving inside. Hill missed it. Again, they try and a foul. Remember now, Indiana has already claimed the top seed in the Eastern Conference. It's Philadelphia that has everything on the line. It's Philadelphia that needs to win tonight and tomorrow to get home court advantage in the first round. They are the team that is right now in the spotlight at center stage as Kukoc hits his first.
Well, I've played shooting games, ping pong, golf, everything with Larry Bird. I've never seen him want to lose anything. And, you know, Chris Mullin, a great competitor. Jalen Rose, those guys all out there have been in this league a long time, and they want to win this game just as bad as any other.
Well, what was interesting, when Kukoc came in early in the game, he sparked them with his passing. But then when he was out, the defense put them in a position, the 76ers, where they could get ahead. But now I'm wondering whether they can apply pressure with Kukoc in the game the way they could with him out of the game.
Lynch is in. Ratliff is taking a seat on the Sixer bench. Travis Best. In for Mark Jackson is injured, not playing tonight. Derek McKee hit a big three moments ago. Over Lynch. Oh! McKee has scored 5 crucial points in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, that's a part of his game that he's capable of doing, but he just doesn't get a lot of opportunities. He prefers to pass. A lot of times he's just not aggressive offensively at all.
Out of bounds it goes, and Philadelphia throws it away for their 12th turnover tonight.
And you see Indiana's defense now. Indiana is doing a better job of keeping them from getting the ball to post. They're playing physical, and they're being the instigators.
Well, they're definitely not letting them post up, and Kukoc is not a very physical player inside. Now, I understand why he plays outside now as much as he does, because he's been stripped, and now they're pushing him out of the post.
Lynch picks up the foul, number 4, and they're going to McKee down low.
Well, they feel that's where they have the best mismatch. And if they're going to double, McKee is one of the best passers out of the double team.
Good point.
When he's got Lynch playing him, and Lynch is playing behind him in the post, he can see right over him to even score or to make the pass.
That works it around the perimeter. It's Jalen Rose who throws it away. Good defense on the play by Lynch. Iverson driving on Best at the other end, and a foul called on Travis Best.
But they're just mugging each other down in the post right now. Derek McKee throws Tony Kukoc down. They throw it out of bounds down there. That time Jalen Rose gets mugged, and they steal the ball and get an easy transition free throws. Right here, you see Jalen Rose come for the double team. You don't really see what happens to get the ball from him, but they've been hammering him down there on the low post. Both teams are doing it, and again, the instigators usually get away with it.
Well, and one thing about the game, I think the officials have called it consistently because they've let the game be a very physical game the entire game. When Philadelphia was pressing earlier, I thought that they were making some fouls, but the referees have been very consistent with both ends of this.
Iverson has 24. He's averaging 28, the defending scoring leader from a season ago in the NBA, Allen Iverson. Rose, Sixers down by 1. Looking for McKee. Oh, he just shed the defense of Kukoc and then missed the easy basket.
That's too bad. It was a great patience by Rose. But there again, they front the post. They got away with it that time. It should have been an easy lay-in.
Aaron McKee makes a rare appearance. Tony Kukoc at the three-point strike, missing the shot. Rose coming the other way.
Well, and I'm telling you, when Kukoc passes so much, and he's a great shooter, that when they need him to shoot, his rhythm and his confidence is not there the way it should be at this point of the game.
Larry Brown is furious, thinking his Sixers should have the ball. And I guess he was right. Sean Corbin came over and had a better view than Jim Clark.
Well, you like to see that happen. You know, when something like that happens and the referees have the courage enough to say that they made the wrong call, you always have to respect them for that.
I don't know why they called it. It wasn't out of bounds. It didn't hit anything behind the board. It didn't go over the backboard. It just went behind it from the side.
Eric Snow firing to Kukoc, picked up by McKee. They got the isolation. Now Perkins with some double. Snow through traffic to the hole. Tap up try by Hill. Won't go. Snow again. The shot clock buzzer went off, but inadvertently it hit the rim. And now Hugh Evans will go over and...
Well, the Indiana bench is saying that it did not hit the rim.
I think it hit the underneath portion of the rim. To the chagrin of Larry Brown. Philadelphia has gone over 7 minutes, Danny, without a field goal. They trail by 1 right now.
Well, you know, again, I think Tony Kukoc needs to be more aggressive. He's got Derek McKee on him. I never did see the ball hit the rim. That ball looks like it goes right over the top of the basket, and they should not have reset the shot clock.
Yeah, but I'm wondering what they could talk about in the middle of the floor that made them determine whether they hit the rim or didn't hit the rim.
Remember, it was Larry Brown in Indiana that were in trouble last week in New York when a ball was guided in by Patrick Ewing. on TBS NBA Monday. Iverson the miss right there. And the NBA admitted it was a mistake by Joey Crawford's crew.
I agree with Coach Thompson. This crew has been very consistent tonight. They're letting both teams play physical. The question I have is what kind of officiating is there going to be in the playoffs? How they're supposed to do it or how they're letting them do it tonight? I like this game.
I do too. It's just a great tempo to it. Foul called on Iverson, who picks up his second. And a timeout taken with under 3 minutes to play in a very important game for Iverson and the Philadelphia 76ers. They've won 8 consecutive games at home. They need to win tonight to keep that home court advantage alive.
We have 4 fouls now. Both teams are in the bonus. No second shots. You, Allen, and Eric, you guys got to get matched up with their guards. And we can't put pressure up the floor. We need everybody on the board. You got McKee. We're not helping. All right? You got Sam. Is that how we're doing it?
Philadelphia has been dynamite in close games, and they're in one right now, trailing by 1. The Philadelphia 76ers led by 10 at the end of 3. So that tells you what kind of fourth quarter Indiana has had.
Well, Indiana came back out, giving them some of their own medicine. They got more aggressive defensively, and they created some problems for the 76ers as a result of it.
Perkins, Rose, Mullin, McKee, and Travis Best. Knocked away by Snow. Picked up by Iverson. Almost lost it, and then gets it back in the calm hands of Eric Snow.
Great defense by Snow right there, stripping Jalen. They're not going to try to double team. They're going to try to play Indiana head up on the block.
Now that's the kind of shot that Larry Brown wanted, right? That mid-range jump shot from Iverson. He got the shot he wanted.
That was kind of mid-range deep, though.
Yeah.
I think the thing that they responded to, Larry called for pressure. He said pressure about 4 times because he doesn't want to be posted because this Indiana team is much bigger than his team.
2.5 to play. Best calls by Iverson. Takes it inside. Picked up by Hill. Back out to Iverson. Setting up Philadelphia. Driving is Snow. Wide open. Aaron McKee for 3. Rebound by Sam Perkins.
Well, see, that's the same thing you talked about with Kukoc, because this kid is a good shooter also, but he's not accustomed to shooting during the course of the game. And now when you want to take those shots at the end, you don't have a comfort level, nor do you have rhythm.
Perkins. Mullin for 3. Bullseye!
What a great shot. He has a comfort level, Daddy, and he has rhythm.
And Perkins even threw the ball to him late. If he'd have got it to him on time, he probably would have got a better stroke. But that is just an amazing shot.
5 3-point shots for Chris Mullin. Pacers by 4. Snow into Rose. Picked up by Ratliff. 5 to shoot. Inside it goes. And whacked away as Snow was trying to penetrate.
You think this guy is earning some minutes in the playoffs right now by his performance tonight? I know he's made a lot of these throughout his career, but he has not got a lot of playing time tonight. That's as big a one as he's hit all year.
Chris Mullin was the second best 3-point shooter in the NBA a season ago. Tonight, making his second start of the season and doing it at a great time with Reggie Miller out and Mark Jackson not playing. And Indiana now will need the services of Mullin. As we found out, they may play Milwaukee. They could play Detroit at that 8th seed. What about Indiana against Milwaukee, Danny, as you take a look at that possible matchup in the first round?
Well, they beat him 3 out of 4 in the regular season. They beat him pretty handily last year in the playoffs, and I think they'll beat him again this year.
What about Charlotte? If they would get the home court over Philadelphia, who needs to win to have the home court over possibly Charlotte?
Well, I think Charlotte is a dangerous team because they have a lot of guys who are extremely talented, and whenever the moon is out and they're playing well, you got a problem. You know, I think that Indiana is the kind of team that Danny said that these guys can shoot the ball well, and they've got a lot of people that can play too.
Iverson the miss. Corralled in the corner by Tyrone Hill. 1:19 to play. A whistle and a Derek McKee defensive move, putting Hill in a straitjacket, forces Philadelphia to call a timeout. Neither team, by the way, has a foul to give. With 1:18 to play, Indiana by 4.
The Sixers are going to feel awfully bad if this game slips away because they had it going their way. good pressure defense getting out in the break, and now you're in a situation where they're being somewhat forced to play a half-court game as a result of not being able to stop Indiana at half-court and then being able to make three-point shots.
Philly has 2 timeouts. Indiana has 3. Iverson to Snow and over Rose. Philadelphia has not hit a field goal in almost 10 minutes. They're 1 of 14 in this 4th quarter.
And that's what's killing them. That's how they started the game, too. They started the game shooting the ball miserably.
Especially when you force them to play a half-court game. It appears that Allen is the only one looking to shoot. Snow took that shot. Maybe should have passed it to Kukoc, who was in his left-hand side.
McKee almost got the tap. Here comes Snow, shifting gears the other way into a thicket of Indiana defenders. Kukoc with a huge three-point shot.
Oh, that's a huge basket right there. It was a great shot. No timeout. Snow pushed it up and tried to get 2 possessions for 1. Now they can back off, try to get a stop, and get the last shot for the win.
Jalen Rose. And a foul on Philadelphia. It's on Snow, and he picks up number 4, and Larry Brown angry on the sideline.
This is an example of two veteran players knowing the game situation. Kukoc, no hesitation, knew they needed to get a quick shot up to have the last possession.
Well, Larry better be careful because he doesn't need a technical foul right now. He's in this referee's ear pretty hard.
Jalen Rose, 2 of 6 from the free throw line. Hits right there. A career 73% free throw shooter. And Larry Brown is going to want a timeout after the second throw by Rose. The Philadelphia 76ers and Larry Brown led by 10 points at the end of 3. They're creeping back on the Pacers, but Indiana, the best team in the East, leading by 3 with a half-minute to play.
Late clock, we got to switch everything. If there's a problem, we got to call our timeout. All right? If we don't score and you're going to foul, go for a steal. All right? Everybody understand that?
58-year-old Larry Brown, who was just signed to a contract extension by that man there in the middle, Pat Croce, who has come back himself from incredible odds in a devastating car accident. And now here in Philadelphia, 26 seconds remaining in regulation, down by 3. Rattler. Snow. Driving on Rose. Knocked away by Jalen Rose.
Well, and that's the advantage, again, of the height of the Indiana guards, that once you get that deep into the paint, if you're not going by somebody, you're going to have a lot of difficulty in going over them.
Foul called on Jalen Rose. He has number 4. And here is Snow at the free throw line, a career 69% shooter. Tonight, 2 of 3. This year, 71%.
Well, they got to have these 2 free throws. Then when Indiana inbounds the ball, they got to go for a steal, but try to foul him right away. You don't want to foul Chris Mullin. You can foul anybody else out there, but Chris Mullin, I guarantee you that. He's going to knock him down. Jalen Rose knocked down his last 2.
And I've got some idea that he's going to run towards the ball.
One-point game, 19 seconds to play. They go to Rose. The foul on Snow. It is Indiana's ball. There is no foul. It's Indiana's ball. Hugh Evans reversed his call.
He just pointed the wrong way. He knew who hit it out of bounds. That was the correct call.
It's Best who gets tangled up with Allen Iverson. And a foul called on Allen. He has 3, and Best will be at the free throw line.
Now the dilemma that Larry Brown has right now is he only has 1 timeout remaining. So you can go, if he makes these 2 free throws, you can go for the quick 2. Or is this team prepared enough to just take it up the court and try to score quick 2 out of transition here?
Travis Best has not taken a free throw shot tonight. Indiana 6 of 10 from the line.
Now that you're only going to be down 2 at the most right here, I think Larry Brown will take his last time out.
Kukoc comes in for Rattler. So Indiana with Perkins, McKee, Best, Mullin, and Rhodes. The Sixers with Iverson, Snow, Aaron McKee, Kukoc, and Tyrone Hill. Indiana leads by 2.
No timeout. He called the play from the sideline. They're running 3 down.
And Philadelphia has 1 timeout left. For the tie, he goes out to Kukoc. This to tie it. Won't count. Game over. Indiana wins 92-90. And Philadelphia now has put themselves in a very tenuous position. They still have not guaranteed themselves of home court as Tyrone Hill continues to argue and a disgusted Larry Brown tries to reel him off the floor. Philadelphia led by 10 at the end of 3. And Indiana behind the great shooting of Chris Mullin, who hit 5 3-point shots tonight. The Eastern Conference champion Indiana Pacers in the regular season win it 92-90. Final score, the Pacers 92, Philadelphia 90. The Pacers the #1 seed in the Eastern Conference. And Philadelphia will have to definitely win against Chicago tomorrow if they have any hope of home court in the first round. Our producer tonight, Mike Burks, our director, Lonnie Dale, and special thanks to John Gleason, David Husney, and Ars Coleman. Final score, Indiana wins it by 2, 92-90.